Prime Media audiences. This is your host, Ladette Muleta. I am here with a special guest. I'm here honored to have Professor Haragoin Asafa. Professor Haragoin Asafa, thank you so much for joining me here at Prime Media. I'm really honored to have you. Thank you so much for taking your time from your busy schedule and giving us your time for some discussion.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been, I'm very excited to have you here at Prime Media. I've heard some of your interviews, wonderful interviews. You have really a lot to offer. I've learned a lot from you, from your journey and from the things that you've been advocating for Ethiopia, for everyone, which is the commendable part, is your messages have been very uniting. It's encouraging women, it's encouraging citizens to be educated, to be empowered. So I'm really honored to have you here.
Thank you. I think the general message is we have no choice. Let alone the Ethiopians, as Ethiopians, we have to work with the world. I think for me the most important is the shared value, humanity. If I have to choose a single identity, it's going to be humanity. That's what united us, And then the common, values we have, love, unity, and hard work. It's just, I'm against the guns. We have seen what the guns have been doing to people. Usually, the young, they were like told, somebody is your enemy, then they go and fight the gun, liberation front. I don't like it. These kids haven't liberated themselves. They are young, too young. So why don't you give them love and hard work? We need this time to tell them guns kill. It's only the pencil and the paper which liberates you. That's it. Unless we empower ourselves through education and economically, we remain to be poor. And then poor doesn't have voice. You can make a bunch of noises. Nobody can listen to you. Probably the best they can do is using you for their own benefit. So let's just be for peace and unity and love.
Great message. Yeah, and I think this brings me to our first discussion point, which is, how society develops, groups or entities who actually commit crimes, whether it's considered terrorism. There is terrorism on the rise pretty much all over the world. And we are experiencing some of that in Ethiopia, which is, I guess, might be new for my generation since we have not lived, that long to see or even know the history. Because if you have not been raised, especially with, historical things that have kind of focused on segregation or or the actual issues of Ethiopia, you're sort of thinking like, this type of hate crimes that's happening now is new. But I don't think it's new. Through some history books, I've seen that these things are not new. What is, this type of terrorism? Why do we have it in our society and the rest of the world, but specifically in Ethiopia? Why is this happening? Where is it coming from?
Yeah, everything starts from home. What he told. So when I was in the US, I was telling, when we start conversation with my friends from different, when say Ethiopian history, which history is the history which is told in my household or in your household? And then when we start opening house, it contradicts us because in each household, different history is told. And, history is also written by the winners. So it's always never was about the people, it's all about the leader. Okay, in the Tigrayan community or others, or it's about Minilik. Or, in the others who would tell us, like Hannes and Alala were good, but, Minilik was bad, No, it's just based on the different perspective. But the fact is, when we talk about the leaders, nobody talks about the real people. Even for the leaders in their time, they have done whatever. Nobody's perfect. So it's not even fair for the leaders. They have done something at that time. We cannot judge them based on now.
Today
we have to judge them based on what was there. And we were not there. We were told. So really, even if you talk about, but we don't talk about the real people on the ground. The ones, whether it's the Oromo, Tigray, we have about 80 plus ethnic groups. Nobody knows about them. All of them they don't even know each other. Let alone to want to oppress the other. We don't have even communication.
Yeah.
We have 80 some languages. We don't have even a common vehicle. Even the transportation, the highways, we were not that. Let alone the poor Amhara, poor Oromo, poor Tigray people to know each other. Even within Tigray, they don't know each other.
Yeah.
Because there is no means of communication. So we don't know, but we have this narrative about the leaders as if the leaders represent everybody or oppress the other one. Let's change that narrative. The poor people are the same everywhere and they don't know each other. And we say, we know about this, but you don't know them themselves. You tell us you represent them. Do you really know them themselves? If you have any, selfish reason, great to do, just leave them alone. Let them live together peacefully. So that is the history. So we should stop going back talking about the leaders who were 100 years ago, even 34 years ago, as if, they represent all the people, Then, as I told you, it's not even fair for them. We are judging them based on measurement now, not based on their time. Even if we support them, love them, it's not fair.
Yeah. So you said that.
So the terrorism is what starts in the household. What we have been growing up hearing, which most of them, they are just, So less the legend, this one this and this one this, and so many things have been done in the past. So we have to let's do our own going forward. This is our time to do it right. It doesn't matter. Let's not just argue about what the past leaders did. Now it's time to change the history, to unite together. And this is the 21st century. We know war solves nothing. Guns kill, they don't liberate you. So let's just time to put down the guns, pick the pen and the paper, and liberate ourselves through education. And economically, we have to fix our school systems. Really, the standard is low. We have to go back. And our education institutions, we have to make them less destructive. Now we have some challenges. They are come from outside, to create chaos between different, Amhara students. Leave them alone. We have the responsibility. They have to liberate themselves. We have to teach them critical analysis. Then if they want to be politician later on, it's up to them. But I want the campuses less destructive. Please leave them alone.
Okay.
The poor parents send them for us and let them just liberate themselves. Let them learn critical analysis. And then if they choose to be good politicians, it's good. Politics is good if it's based on education and based on real value and, purpose.
Okay, that's a very interesting topic that you just brought up.
Yeah.
I think that's something very unique. I mean, in the United States, where I went to college, there, college students sometimes, participate in protests, or they might have a group that they discuss some things with. But it's a very safe place for people to get education and to stick with their plan of being educated. It doesn't, the universities do not allow students to be distracted with other, political groups or active affiliations with any groups that would take them out of their education. I mean, they're almost like they protected the students. I don't know if that's the case in Ethiopia, because as a professor, you're mentioning it.
So because I'm an educator, it's, really, we misunderstand democracy. What is democracy in the West is different. It's just, the right comes with responsibility. Here, we don't know. Right comes with responsibility. We ask for the right is also sometimes destroying our little properties that we have. In the United States, no way. You cannot even cross a line. Just destroying any property will put you into jail. You can just voice on the side, but you cannot even cross the line. And they say, okay, if you resist arrest, you put in jail. They put you in jail. So we don't have a good understanding of democracy. We think if you destroy somebody or insult somebody, kill somebody, we think it's broke. No, that's crime. That's a crime. We need to learn that. And the shared environment has to be less destructive. In America, even in the offices, you don't see the Americans talking politics. You go to the HR, even if you made a bad joke, if somebody says to the HR, she made me feel uncomfortable, he made me, that's a big thing. So the shared environment has to be less destructive, respectful. So we have to teach ourselves
boundaries.
The boundaries.
Yeah,
the boundaries. Because it's also a double standard from the West. What they prescribe for us and what is practiced is completely day and the night.
Yeah.
So, but we choose. If you want to learn, we can learn the good thing from them. No, you cannot have another standard for us.
Yeah.
Don't insult us. Just what you do there is different than this.
So can universities in Ethiopia be used as a place to foster political ideas and I don't want to say brainwash, but encourage students to get involved in things? How are the boundaries set right now?
In a civilized manner. First of all, whatever your voice has to be based on reason. Sometimes they inflame things. Mm-hmm. You have this assumption, do you have the facts to speak for them? If they have the facts, if there are certain incidents done by them, no, you cannot. The Oromo people did this, or the Tigray people did this. But those specific facts, whatever done by individuals, they don't represent the whole society. You cannot present them this against Oromo, against Amhara, because few individuals, extremists, are just making loud noises for whatever interest they have. Mm-hmm. But they don't represent the voice of the entire population, ethnic group or something. So we need to fight together any kind of extremism, whether it's religious extremism or whether it's ethnic extremism. I think it's in our interest that each of us fight against them. I know in Tigray, it has been on the work for many years. I mean, the extremism, whatever, tribalism has reached almost the population level, because for decades it was there. But I see some Oromo extremists, Amhara extremists coming. If you see these days especially, they are finding the Wallaga issue. Yeah. As sad as it is, some of us are mourning in silence, but some of them we don't want to add noise to them. The numbers are, some of them, they make them thousands, some of them, it's just, either knowingly or unknowingly, they are inflaming. Mm-hmm. Let's just, it's sad, it's heartbreaking. So, in order to prevent such kind of incident, let's do it otherwise. So making chaos and inflaming everything, blaming the government, knowing how complex the issues are, how challenging the issues are. In a government is not a single entity to me. There are so many, especially in the past decades, so many people with different interests are in there still. Mm-hmm. So I see many people trying to do it right, but some people also, they benefited from the chaos and this what. I'm sure they want to keep that. Yeah. So let's not focus on the prime minister or the government. Let's do our share. What are you doing yourself is my share. Come down and make your hand wet. Contribute to the people. Don't just, be on the side, make noise and inflame the things. Yeah. Not understanding the complexity. Mm-hmm. Whether it's anybody who wants to do, when you're down on the ground, how much the challenges are. Yeah. So what are you contributing to solve that challenge, to address that challenge? I don't envy the position of the prime minister. Yeah. Would you?
No, it's
Yeah, if we are not on the same page, even running a household is tough. I couldn't make it.
it's hard.
I couldn't make it
It's
because
very
me and my children's father were on the opposite. So I had to get out of that.
Yeah.
So can you imagine a country of 100+ million?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you say like this, we are government supporter, we are opposite. No. I'm a human being. I'm for peace. I'm against wars. Whoever goes for that with me, I don't know who is that. If the Prime Minister is for peace, against guns, against the war, standing with him doesn't make me just supporting him, supporting the 100+ million Ethiopian people. And beyond. We are not the only one. In Africa, there are so many nonsense wars like this. And some people are benefiting. The arms manufacturing is, it's multi-billion dollars. So if we don't fight,
They're not going to make money.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they don't represent a country or people, but they are few greedy people.
So you said terrorism starts from home. What are your, what are your ideas for, mothers, parents who are raising the new generation, or some who have already, misinformed their kids? What are some of the things that the society can do to ensure that they are raising, healthy generations? And then at the same time, what are some of the things that the leadership, the government, can do to fight extremism? Because at a government level as well, there are steps that can be taken. Because I sort of look at terrorism as also lacking education, as lacking morals, as lacking humanity. These are things that are very complex, and part of the reason why I completely agree with you. It's so complicated that I don't slam and make this an issue for one particular group. I don't think it's the government's fault. I don't think it's an ethnic group's fault. I think it's a combination of things, and it starts at home. So what are some of the solutions that you think might help with some of the extremism that we are having right now in Ethiopia?
I think I would start with the women's issue.
Okay.
Because if you see I'm not here as a professor again, not representing anybody, but that requires work, hard work, based on research. And my area of expertise is in the sciences. But that taught me critical analysis. So I put, and I see the facts on the ground, especially the one I lived through. And then I have my own analysis. I can add 1 and 1 is equal to 2, right? Because just my interest is the factors. So the woman issue, I think Tigray is the most misogynistic society I know. When you are born as a girl, they make like sound of happiness. 3 for girls, 7 for boys. You're not welcome. And then if you see the songs, it's just about serving men. So really, women never had a real say in that. They couldn't even be mothers. You see, Tigray, my hero mother, is the one who pushes into the war. That has contributed into that. If you give your motherhood the sacredness, what else you have taught? If you are there to serve men, to get acceptance to that culture, that has contributed for Tigray to be at war for 50 years. There was no valid reason for me. And then these 13, 14 years old, 15 years old, who haven't even liberated themselves, were told the hate, and they were like given guns, and that's what we have seen for the past 50 years. If women could be themselves, that care, maternal care, no. I wouldn't send, my son or my daughter to this one. So they could have, if they were empowered, if they didn't have to submit or to get confirmation to that society, they have to, and then there will be less. There was like recent, Tigray Mothers One. Where else in the world is that? I may be repeating it, but I want to highlight it.
Yeah.
So when women are used, 50% of the society is just to be used only. If they are not empowered, if they couldn't bring their real nature to the surface, then that's wrong. So let's empower women. Let's start, from preventing early marriage. I was lucky because my father protected me from early marriage. So I survived through. I was independent, I was educated, so I could take care of my kids, could raise them the way I think is right. At least whatever the result is, I have done myself. If I wasn't empowered, if I was not protected from that early marriage, if I didn't empower myself through education and something, I couldn't have done what I did, because it was a tough job. To be a single mother, a student, all that. And then, so let's empower women, let's prevent them. I heard in Tigray one case, and I'm sure that it's not only isolated to Tigray, the early marriage, it's all over. It's all over the circle. So this 12-year-old, they marry her off. She ran away for protection home. And this mother and father, they have to hold her for the husband to be to repair. Where else would you go for protection? So let's stop this, let's work together. It's not a single isolated to Tigray, all over Ethiopia, all over probably in Africa. Let's empower them. Let's give them a choice whether they want to go to school, empower themselves or not. We're not giving them choice. If you force them into young men, it starts there. Once they empower themselves, they could do the right thing. Even politically, some are being used, There is also perception, proving yourself means acting like a man. No, we have to act like us. I had a friend who said, I'm a woman, I'm not a lady. Because, that lady comes with social expectation, right?
Yeah.
We have good nature as women. We are nurturing. We bring that baby 9 years in our body, in our belly, then we nurse that. We say, let's continue just feeding love. Also, giving, like, when you choose food, you don't see the immediate effect. But when you choose this psychological or something, you see immediate effect. If you don't teach them hate, they'll be hateful. So it starts from home, and empowering women is very important, and they have to be themselves. They don't have to act like a man, because we are created to be complementary. When we are left out, we are multitasking. I cannot imagine a man doing whatever I did. Yeah. If you don't have any choice. But it's good if we are together for the kids. Yeah. We have to also ask men to be involved in in raising their children. But in most societies, they are not involved. A man couldn't be in the kitchen. A man shouldn't, In some households, they are out, they come late, after the kids sleep, and the kids leave to school while the fathers are sleeping. Let's hold. There are so many responsible men who raise their kids, but the society doesn't hold them accountable for those who don't take responsibility. Yeah. For most men, for many men, responsibility stops at conception. In the Tigray case, for example, it stops there. He's not involved in that. If somebody implies, for example, if my children says Haragoyn's daughter or son, he's not a donkey that you refer to him, his son. But I'm the one who went to help raise them. Then even casually cannot even refer them that Haragoyn's daughter or son. This is how the society, when they are not involved in their raising, it's okay. They come to claim the name. That's okay, the official name hasn't changed it, but even casually cannot refer that. Why is that? Why don't we hold accountable, responsible? There is I don't see child support forcing them. Even if somebody is there, it's not implemented. They have a way out not to do anything. So really, the involvement of both parents in the raising of the kids is very important. I'm not saying there are not many men who are responsible, but as a society, as a culture, we don't encourage it. Yeah. It's time to do that. It's time to, even in the government, the law, we have to be tough. Yeah. If that child is born to you, you have a responsibility to prepare that child to, to deal with life. Yeah.
No, I agree. And another, in leadership and in political arena as well, there has been some changes, at least in this new administration. We've seen a lot more women involved in parliament and in key government positions, but I still notice, where there's, events in regards to national dialogues or in regards to conflict, that way too often women are not represented enough, and it's kind of I want to say the opportunity for women is not presented. A woman has to do a lot more, to actually have the access or to actually have the opportunity to be involved, even within the country affairs. And it's the other way around in the rest of the world, especially in the developed world. These days, women are more educated percentage-wise than men, and you seem to see more women decision makers in politics. And do you think that increasing? Yes, we have made some progress, but we're nowhere near close to 50-50 or close to the number that will empower women. Do you think our country will benefit in regards to peace, especially if women are involved at that level?
Yeah, my guess is I don't even, the number is not, the numbers they may deserve, but is it a real representation? Mm-hmm. Do these really women have real power? Are they really educated enough? I have to make the research, but we have been promoting mediocrity. Because the politicians in the past decades, they don't want to be challenged. Mm-hmm. They want somebody who is loyal to them, not to the people. So we have to look into this. I don't want to be judgmental. Those women, they don't represent, blah blah. But let's look into each one. Sometimes they may pick a woman who loyal to them. That enforces the stereotyping. Mm-hmm. Woman. So I don't like this affirmative action. If it's real, yeah, but sometimes it's not real. Mm-hmm. There is therefore a number. I just don't want special favor. I just don't want to be, discriminated because I'm a woman while I have the real thing. For people like me, I'm happy that I wasn't in this country for the past 30 years. I would be in trouble, knowing myself. Yeah, because I think we have been promoting mediocrity. I can say this, because its loyalty has been more important, and I hope that I see interest, to make it right. I hope it works. It will take time. So I hope women understand they have to be themselves. They don't have to act like a man to prove themselves. They have to be supportive of women. They have to stand for themselves, being themselves. A woman doesn't have bad character. We have to be a woman. We have that maternal, that caring instinct. We have also, we can think, we care. So we don't have to be muscular, right? Mm-hmm. So God created us to be complementary. I don't have to carry a quintal, but I can imagine carrying a baby for nine months and caring. Well, that requires a lot of patience. Mm-hmm. So we can do that, and we can do the muscular thing. It's just let's work together. Let's, as a woman, let's not try to be like a man. We don't have to. Yeah. So there are still, even that alone here, we haven't started it yet, empowering women for me, for real. Mm-hmm. We have to look into that. Although I don't want to make a conclusion, but in general, whether it's men or women, mediocrity has been promoted for so long. Let's just make it everything merit. But even as a woman, if I don't merit for that position, I don't want to feel somebody is doing special thing for me because I'm a woman, I'm in that position. No. Yeah. Do I have capability? Yes. And I don't want to be discriminated because I'm a woman while I have that equal capability against that man. But I don't want to feel like somebody is doing me special favor. I see that. And some women are manipulating that one. Yeah. Yeah. So just act here together, have your credentials. I'm a woman, I'm this, because, I could mention specific cases, but since in the interest of time, let's just look into that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this affirmative action, just let's, that woman, otherwise it end up enforcing the stereotyping.
And the stereotype
will feed inside and it becomes a vicious circle. So let's have real empowerment of women, real interest in empowering women.
Okay, great. I think we're doing good with time. The empowerment of women will really certainly help Ethiopia with with solving many of the issues. Overall, right now the challenges that we have is very complex, from internal issues to external issues to finding a medium where national dialogue is going to start. And how do you think every group is going to be represented? One of the things you mentioned earlier is every group is part of us, and we are we represent all each other, and we as long as even those that have done negative in the past or negative in the future, they still belong to us. We're all Ethiopians. We are all the same. And the biggest way of uniting and finding a common ground is really something that's going to be challenging, but at the same time the most rewarding thing for our history. What do you think can come out, or what can be done in order to help have this kind of dialogue in Ethiopia for
let's bring, especially the armies, they have to be out of, other than for me going forward, the National Defense Force and the police, it has to be out of everybody's.
So what do you mean? I didn't understand.
The guns.
Okay.
The guns. Other than the police, who protects the public interest, and then the National Defense Force, eventually they have to be out. This Liberation Front, they don't even liberate themselves. Whom to liberate? They don't even know the people. Okay. Right? So eventually, let's just tell them, if they have been misled, let's just teach them. So have they been misled? Or do they have really, if they have really, the people is interested, they don't have to pick the guns. For me, for that person to pick the guns and go to the bush, either they have been fed hate, extreme hate, so they are going to revenge because from home, and or they must have thinking, if I have the gun, I can get a bigger share. Those are the two ones who drive people to the bush for me. But either of them is wrong.
I think let's repeat those, because I think it's very important.
Yeah, for me, that's what I also think.
You said it's either
for somebody to pick the gun and to go to the bush to kill, especially the innocents, like we saw in Wallaga or something. They must have been fed extreme hate, which starts from home, misled, especially those young ones. Who didn't liberate themselves, or they must have thought, if I have the gun, I can get a bigger share. Those are the two ones who drive. Either of them are wrong. Yeah. Let's just, if you can teach them and teach the hate, that would be good to bring them back. But this Liberation Front, this fighting terrorism, or on the bush, So if they really care about the people, they have to sit on they have to put down their guns, and then just sit on the table. Let's discuss if they really care. But if you think because you're getting the gun, and you think you can get the bigger share, no. The people, the community has to fight them. It shouldn't be left only to the government. The government is not a single entity. It's a composition of people, especially knowing what have been going on for the past decades. Still, it's not a single entity. There are so many people who benefited from that. So, the community should fight them. No, you don't represent us. We want a peace. We want to work. We want to live. So when they go that, they are ready to kill and to die too. So just put down. So the community, it has to start from the community itself has to fight them. All of us have to fight them. We have to unteach the hate.
So it's all the communities, not just the government's
Oh
responsibility.
no, the community has to
but
be
the
involved.
community has to say no to the guns.
Yeah, because
outside of the police
because
and the
those
federal
people,
government.
regardless, although they may not share, they came out from that society.
Yeah.
The community. So let's just, if you break it down, the communities really start fighting them or untick the head, then the burden will be shared. So we can come out quickly from that, what we see, and prevent also future terrorism and all that.
Right. I think this is a great place to end. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful interview. Professor Haragoin, you share a lot of knowledge and you deliver it perfectly.
Thank you.
I think this is, we have a lot to learn from you, and we really appreciate it.
We learn from each other.
Yeah, appreciative that you are willing to share this knowledge the way you are. It's really wonderful. We have a lot that we're gaining from you, so I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and hopefully, you're always welcome at Prime Media to discuss these kind of discussions. Always welcome.
Thank you. This is in a nutshell, so we can break it down and work together on the women's issue, preventing early marriage, violence against men and children too. They are victims, because so looking forward to working with you to educate the public, to undo the hate, to really teach love and how gun hurts us and how education, really liberates people, the pencil and paper. So just, for peace and love and unity and against guns and wars.
Great.
We have to work for that. Women empowerment, you cannot go forward by ignoring 50% of the society, especially given the critical role they play in the family and in the society. So
great.
I'm looking forward. I know we have a lot of challenges. At the same time, I'm optimistic as well. Yeah. If we come together based on our, common values, so core values, we can
we
do
can
so many
overcome.
things.
Yes. Thank you so much. Prime Media audiences, this is my half an hour with Professor Haragoin. I will be back with another guest. Thank you.